You know this place. You should. This is the Armories. There's been a lot of talk about it recently. Big reason. John Morris Russell, the main man at the Windsor Symphony Orchestra. What is going on? What was in this? What was in the news? What's this concept that you've been spearheading for a while? It involves doing something pretty grand with what is the Palace Theatre complex and the Armories.
We've been talking about this ever since the Windsor Regiment and the Essex Kent Scottish Regiment left. Find a way to repurpose this great building. And more recently, the Palace Theatre's kind of come into play.
Yeah.
Because it's such a significant spot for the city. So we formed a committee, the Windsor Armories Committee.
Yeah.
And talked about the idea of conjoining these two buildings in a glass atrium here in this alleyway. Now
we're going to make our way down there. And part of this that I thought was interesting that we talked about was the history of this building itself.
Built in 1901. For the Essex Kent Scottish Regiment. It was used for 100 years, and where the Palace Theatre is...
Yeah? This is where business takes place right now, but we're gonna work through it anyway. They're heading away. So this was built in 1901.
Right, and where the Palace is actually was a parade ground.
Yeah, that's right. And when you say that, I mean, you think parade, we're talking about military... drills.
Yeah,
yes.
and in fact, the size of the lot here is the same size as the Armories building, which just so happens to have the perfect acoustical shape. And this building, its walls are about 1.5 meters thick. You can see it's brick, limestone. I mean, you can't build a building like this.
Better than this.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this alleyway between the Palace and the Armories, actually is cloaking the original entrance to the building.
Yeah, and we came here, and you can see the remnants of what used to be here. You have this big entrance that you said, like over here, where there's a wall now, was all wide open. So this was the front. This was the face of the building.
Absolutely. And the idea now is to bridge this alleyway between the Palace and the Armories with a glass atrium, so that patrons attending a concert, a jazz concert, or symphony, or country, whatever type of event is going in, that this atrium kind of serves as an extended lobby. And likewise, if indeed you were to be attending a film of the Windsor International Film Festival in the Palace Theatre Complex, likewise, you'd be able to come out here. And
so this would be a common area, a public area, a glassed atrium down this entire space that people could come to all the time. It would always be open.
Absolutely. And, imagine in January, February, taking your brown bag lunch and coming into the atrium, taking off your coat, smelling the trees and flowers that will be growing within the space, having yourself a cup of coffee, and maybe listening to one of the players of the symphony or School of Music playing within the atrium. It's a beautiful public space that everyone can enjoy.
So as a concept, I mean, we talked about something that happened in St. Catharines. They had to build this stuff from scratch, which cost them like over $100 million, where this concept to actually bridge these two spaces, the proposed amount, with making it the greenest, like you said, it would be the greenest concert hall in Canada, would only be $30 million, give or take.
Well, that's because we have these two facilities that are already in use and are already in play.
Right.
And St. Catharines Performing Arts Center, which is being built in cooperation with Brock University, the city of St. Catharines, the region of Niagara, they all came together, and the Niagara Symphony, to be able to create this space.
Yes.
$110 million.
For $110 million. That's a pretty big commitment when, if this city decided to do something similar, again, the cost is remarkably different.
Remarkably different. And again, it's because we have these great heritage buildings that we can repurpose.
But and you're saying the same types of partnerships would have to happen. You'd have to have city, the schools,
the region,
and private businesses saying, we'd like to have space that you're going to be leasing, renting in here that's newly renovated and connected to a multi-purpose entertainment complex that the symphony would be using.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just a symphony. There are so many things and so many performers who don't have a proper space to perform. I mean, we think of the thousands and thousands of kids in our region who play instruments in ensembles of one kind or another. They have no place to perform. They're performing in gymnasiums. When we think of the great hockey culture in this town and all the great arenas that kids can play hockey, we need one place where our kids can perform music.
Now, that's a good point. It's well framed. We are now in what is a very predominantly well-known corner space chunk of downtown. It's the gateway into our country. This is the way in, which happens to come out onto what would be a glitzed up facade and Tom, plaza you were talking about.
Now you have to remember, this is the most traveled land entrance to our nation. More people come through this gateway into Canada by car than any other gateway.
And right now, this is the face of the Armories they're getting,
and a parking lot.
Okay, so what you are envisioning is
that our glass atrium,
yes,
which will wrap itself around and create a beautiful facade on this side of the building,
all the way in the front of here,
all the way to the front. Then this parking lot is no longer a parking lot; it's a plaza. It's got a fountain, huge fountain, a Canadian flag smack dab in the middle, and all the flags of all the provinces. So that to all the people who come into Windsor, Ontario, Canada, we say, welcome to our nation, welcome to our city, welcome to our region, land of culture.
Which, I mean, you feel right now, if you come out that gateway, we're not necessarily saying that as loudly as we could be. As we would be if this was in a glassed-in atrium, and you were even speaking about the inside space, having a lot of window space, people inside looking out, people who are coming out of the tunnel seeing activity happening in a building like this. So that is the grand overall vision, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
And realistically, when people want to know what it means, like from idea to construction, what would it take for this kind of thing to happen, to end this little tour? Does it take a lot? Is it going to take private funding? What is it going to take?
It takes everyone coming to the table, and this was the important thing about the feasibility study, which we financed several years ago. And it said that this will not become a reality unless the municipality and the region, universities, college, school boards, private, public, we all have to come together and say, this is what we think our future is going to be about. This is how we're going to keep and maintain the great people who are from this city, to keep them here and to keep them from moving to places like St. Catharines or Toronto.
Right.
That this is the type of thing that will bring the entrepreneurs coming across into our country saying, yeah, we want to set up shop here because this is a great place to raise a family, and this is a land of great thinkers, of creative people who can find creative solutions.
So you think this can happen?
It must happen.
Well, there you have it. This is John Morris Russell. If you see him downtown, he's one of the downtown visionaries. And next time you're around the Armories, take a closer look. It's a beautiful building, and please leave your comments and thoughts under this blog post about what you think about this proposed project. I know it makes me think twice, man.